So Afrikaner interest groups have clarified that they are not requesting funding from America to establish a whites-only development, but to use it to preserve their culture. This clarification comes after AfriForum and Solidarity handed a memorandum to White House officials on Tuesday calling for aid from America to fund an Afrikaner development. The groups are in America calling on the Trump administration not to impose punitive measures on South Africa. This comes after the U.S. president issued an executive order cutting aid to the country, citing gross human rights violations against white minorities. Newzroom Afrika's Juniour Khumalo reports.
Lobby groups AfriForum and Solidarity met senior representatives of U.S. President Donald Trump's administration on Tuesday. Among the requests made by this grouping, calling itself the Solidarity Movement during the engagement, was for funding for an Afrikaner development. This, according to them, will be a safe haven for Afrikaners who do not take up Trump's refugee status offer. AfriForum's CEO was quick to elaborate that this was not a request to establish another whites-only enclave in the mold of Orania.
The fact is, Afrikaners are migrating within South Africa to bigger centers. You will see, for instance, the number of Afrikaners is growing in places like Pretoria, in Bethlehem, and a number of regional areas. And within those areas, we have to also make sure, in those areas where Afrikaners are concentrating, we need to make sure that there are Afrikaans schools, especially if the current government in South Africa, and especially President Ramaphosa, seems to support an act that is out there to make sure that Afrikaans schools are destroyed.
These lobby groups cited what they described as Pretoria's arrogant response to Trump's signing of an executive order earlier this month withdrawing aid assistance to South Africa as motivation for their traveling to Washington. They urged Trump's administration not to punish ordinary South Africans, but to target ANC leaders at the heart of implementing acts that threaten their cultural autonomy. As such, the Solidarity Movement has called on America to put pressure on the South African government to revise the Bela and Expropriation Acts. One international relations expert described such a move as an insult to South Africa's sovereignty.
It is unpatriotic, it is unacceptable. The South African constitutional democracy is such that there is a lot of room for disagreements. We've seen the robustness of our judicial system. They could have taken up the matter within the courts and so on. And our government and parliament have been subjected to our judiciary and have complied.
Eyebrows have been raised over how the South African government, through its diplomatic channels, has failed until now to get an audience with the Trump administration. Van Heerden believes there could be more to this inability to meet the American president.
This, the push by the Trump administration is informed by an extreme conservative right-wing agenda. And it's no surprise that they've met with extreme right-wing elements from South Africa before the South African government. They don't want to meet with the South African government for now. It seems Lamola and Ramaphosa is trying their level best to knock on the door. But as I've written in an article before, Trump is not going to open that door until he is ready.
The Solidarity Movement confirmed that they have more engagement scheduled in America in their pursuit for Afrikaner interests. There is no indication yet on when the South African envoy will be heading to the U.S. to engage Trump's administration amid deteriorating relations between Washington and Pretoria. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Juniour Khumalo in Johannesburg.